Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Long Run, a weekly live stream about running from the FORDY Runs running community. I'm Ian Wilkinson, and I'll be joined every Friday by the founder of the community, Chris Ford, to discuss everything about running, with special regard being paid to the problems, interests, and dilemmas that everyday runners face every day when they're out there. So thanks very much. You've obviously found us. We're going to be live on Facebook and YouTube every Friday at 7 o'clock. But if you can't make it for that particular time, if you've got to get the tea or there's stuff going on, you've got social events to be at, then we're recording the conversation so you can listen to them at a podcast at your leisure. So perhaps even you've done that already and you're out and you run. And we're accompanying you on that. So we can see you, and yeah, you're looking great. So congratulations for getting out the door. And we hope that we can entertain you for the next 45 minutes or so. In the next few weeks, we hope to get some guests on and put some questions to them and have a chat about all sorts of things running. But like I say, we're looking at everyday runners and you know, the stuff that they're going to be interested in. So we'd like your input more than anything as well. So if you can use the comments box, then you can make observations. And please, if you've got a question, if you can start your comment with a Q and a colon, just in the pink bar, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, that would really help us out. And that would help Alan Bowley, who is our question master. He'll be able to sort them all out and get them into order and everything. So really, this is your gig. This is your show. So we're happy to listen to what you've got to say. We'd love you to get involved. And if you're interested in being involved to an even greater degree, please get involved. So Chris is here. And Alan is here, and Toby's producing. You see Toby up there in the corner. He's going to be the one that's looking after us, doing all the technical sort of stuff. So we've done a bit of this on Clubhouse, and not everybody's been able to get there. So, Chris, this is a little baby that's been gestating for a long time, mate, isn't it? You know, and here we are.
Here we are. We finally made it. YouTube, Facebooking, and podcasting, and everything else that we do. We finally made it. It's been a bit of a I would say journey. We've been toying with the idea of doing this for a while. Alan's been on at me about it when we've been out running. Toby and I have been arguing about it when we've been out running, because we always argue about something. And we got Ian obviously involved because of his journalistic background, and we was chatting about it at club night as well. So yeah, it's been something I've been wanting to do for a while, but it's like anything, isn't it? It's time, because you know, like all of us, we don't have any time to do anything. But also, I think doing it in a different, packaging it in a different way, and coming at it from, you know, from a slightly different angle, because there's some amazing podcasts, there's some amazing live streams out there. Obviously, we've got a lot of people who follow us within the Facebook group, the Facebook community, and the running club, but also on YouTube as well. We've got a community there as well. So it's just important, really, I think, to try and engage with the communities that we've got in FORDY Runs. And just try and bring people together. And if we can sit here and chat rubbish like we do on our long runs, which was basically how this all started, is you know, came up with the idea of putting our thoughts, which we talk about. I don't know about anybody else, but when we're running along for 3 or 4 hours, you just end up talking absolute nonsense. But it's also quite good sometimes to put it out there and listen to other people's opinions on it. So that's where all this came from, really. That's how we got in the clubhouse.
Yeah, the clubhouse went all right, didn't it? But we just didn't quite have the reach, perhaps through that new medium, you know, to get as many people as we wanted to get involved, you know.
Yeah, we want to get more people involved. That's the key. That's what FORDY Runs is all about. Inclusivity, trying to get as many people. Clubhouse, they promised us a lot, but it didn't really deliver. Maybe we was pitching it wrong. I don't know. It's probably our fault. But I think for us, it was just more to try and almost practice on Clubhouse. Thanks very much, Clubhouse. And
yeah, bless them. Cheers, Clubhouse. We did all our mistakes on there, so now we're all, you know, we've got it all sorted.
Yeah, I think we'll get there. Obviously, everyone will have to bear with us over the next couple of weeks while we try and fine-tune this, because it's going to be, as always, ambitious but rubbish. But yeah, I'm just keen to get people involved, really, to see what people want to talk about. Obviously, we've got stuff we want to talk about. But just stick your questions in. We're going to try and get some guests up, but not your usual podcasting guests, which, you know, a lot of the guys do very well. They get, you know, elite runners and, you know, celebrities and all that. We want to get people on here who are, everyday runners. So whether it be Michael Wilkes, who's, done incredible things and accomplished amazing times and stuff like that, or somebody who's, maybe completed an 8-hour or 7-hour marathon and tell us about how that felt and that kind of stuff, really. So
I mean, a lot of them will be people we know and people from the community itself, won't they?
Yeah, I'm happy. I want everybody to have a place here. So if they want to, even if they want to vent, they've gone to a race or an event and it was terrible, come on here and tell everybody about it. That's it's not just our platform. Yeah, we'll sit here and talk nonsense. I mean, we've got the old boy with his man boobs. He's ready to go. We've got we've got Tobe, who's always happy to pitch in with something stupid to say. But yeah, I just want people to get involved and just say fire away in the questions. We will talk about different stuff that's been going on in the community in the week. But just get involved, everyone. That's my main message. We're doing this for everybody else, taking time out on our Friday to try and entertain and listen and hear what people are saying.
So, Alan, can you just? I see we've got our first question. Can you just sort of like go over, what people have got to do again about getting a question so we can have a chat about things?
Yeah, just jump into the chat box, type your question away, and if you preface it with the Q, I'll be looking out for those comments and feed them into you and Chris during the course of the evening.
Right then. Well, we've got our first one, so we might as well kick off, sir, mightn't we?
Yeah, we've got a question from Laura, and she wants to know what the best tips you have for your pre-race preparation. What you do, Chris, before your big race?
Oh, me. Oh,
do you have a routine?
Well, I was going to ask Toby, because Toby would say he goes to the Portaloo 3 or 4 times. Sorry, Toby, I shouldn't have mentioned.
Yeah, we did well there. 9 minutes before the mention of Toby and his experience at Thorny Lake the other week.
So, what was your top tip before a race? Well, yeah, I think just relax. I think more than anything else. I think there's so much. You know what? And it's quite interesting to talk about it week one. Why I started the 40 Runs running community and everything that I do was because I was going to races on my own and I was sitting there anxiously waiting, and there was looking around and there was other people anxiously waiting. And I think the biggest tip is just to relax, talk to other runners, chill out. You might look a bit of a random going around and talking to people, but they're just as nervous as you. So I think if you can bring that anxiety levels down, then once you get onto that start line, whatever wave you're in, because there seems to be about 1 million waves. Oh, by the way, remind me, Alcatraz triathlon. Remind me about that. But yeah, just to chill out, really, and just go with a free mind and ready to have a good time. Doesn't matter what time.
I mean, you obviously have to prepare to a certain extent, but you don't have to over-prepare, do you?
Just have a good time. I mean, everybody goes very serious. I mean, there's nothing wrong if you're going for an A race, right? But a lot of the time we're probably using races and events to fine tune, getting ready for something that maybe we're training for later on down the line. So just have a good time. Just go easy, free up all that anxiety, talk to strangers, and don't spend too much time in the Portaloo. And if you do, take a selfie and tag me in it.
Yeah. Laura, I hope that helps. See, MK tomorrow. So Milton Keynes.
Good luck.
You'll smash it. You'll have a great time. It's going to be a beautiful day. And if it ain't a beautiful day, you'll have a good time anyway. So don't worry about it and just go and enjoy yourself.
Is it an MK, what's it called? A festival of running, isn't it? Oh, by the way, on the Facebook, guys, if you, this the way this streaming thing works, that if you register or do something, you can then find out who's asking the questions. But I think it's someone can let me know. I think it's an MK weekend. I think they've even got a marathon going on this weekend. I might be wrong, but I'll be very interested to know. And also for next week to get people's feedback on what that was like.
Yeah, we'd love to hear about how it went, Laura.
Yeah,
and best of luck. They're flying in now. Look at this.
They're flying in.
Loads of questions coming in.
Yeah,
that's good. That's what
we'll try and smash through them then.
Yeah, we've got a question from Dee. I think she's in week 2 of her marathon training, and she's asking about easy runs in terms of what proportion of the training should be on easy runs. Bearing in mind it's only week 2 of her marathon plan.
Nettie Taylor on here. She's like the 80-20 guru. So Nettie, if you're listening, we're signing you up for 1 week of the long run to come here and talk to everybody about 80-20. I think she's read the book, but she's like a guru on it. Me personally, if you're asking me, I run quite a lot of my stuff easy. Like tomorrow, Tobe and we've been arguing about it all day, what we're going to run, whether it be 16 or 18 miles. But either way, we will run that zone 2. We will concentrate on running that zone 2 tomorrow. Super easy. There she is, Nettie Taylor. There you go. Nettie, we need you on here to talk about 80 to 20. But for me, I mix mine up between sort of easy efforts, moderate efforts, and high efforts. I do a fair amount of sort of easy to moderate, I would say. But in percentage-wise, what? 60-40, I would say. I try and do quite a couple of high efforts a week. I don't know whether that helps at all, but yeah, Nettie's the best person to talk about this. So whoever asks the question, will come back to you. Well, Nettie will.
Yeah, and I mean, easy pace running, you know, it is beneficial, and you know, it's comfortable as well. And the easier you run, the less knackered you'll be, and the more prone you'll be to do more mileage.
Yeah,
so
it's huge. It's huge. You want to be, especially if you're going for a marathon training block, you don't want to be absolutely dead. It's going to be hard enough as it is. So you want to make sure you are banking easy miles. And then when those quality hard sessions do come along, you're in your best possible shape to do them. And also, obviously, your recovery is a little bit quicker after those long miles. I mean, Alan's a great person to talk about it as well because of his Hanson plan. I mean, Alan, with that Hanson, you're doing a lot of it easy miles, aren't you?
Yeah, it's probably similar split 80-20. I don't necessarily keep a hard and fast rule, but within the 6 runs a week, there's always 2 up-tempo runs. So one of them will be short, sharp, 400-meter repeats, 800-meter repeats. Then the second one will be more strength endurance. So today just smashed out a 10K tempo, and that builds throughout the Hanson program from, you know, week 2 onwards, really.
We need another
but
week.
Again, lots of focus on easy.
Don't we? Yeah. We need a Hanson week.
Yeah, cool. We can have loads of weeks.
There was a pop group called Hanson. I'm sure there was.
Yeah, Alan's got the hair, isn't he?
We could dress up.
Yeah, they were all white blonde hair, weren't they?
About the Hanson fan with his man boobs.
They were about 12, weren't they? About 12 years old.
What year?
Oh, before you were born, mate.
There we go.
Anyway, we better crack on.
Yeah, I'm just reading what Nettie's right.
Yeah, we got loads of questions coming in. Don't forget to log in via Facebook because I'm seeing a few Facebook users, so I can't.
Yeah, we'd love to give you a shout. We'd love to give you a name check. So please let us know who you are.
So, Chris, playlists, music, podcasts. What do you listen to when you're on those long runs?
Playlist. We've got the 40 runs playlist, which everybody's chucked in some of the most abysmal tunes that I've ever heard. But there's some awesome tunes on there. So the 40 runs playlist is on Spotify. But podcasts, well, firstly, I'd listen to this once we finally work out how to get it onto a podcast, which we should do. And the other podcasts, I mean, Fletcher's a big lover of the Run Pod with Jenny Faulkner. I know she has some good people on. I personally don't listen to podcasts except for I'll be listening to this one because I just, I can't get into them. I'm too busy, thinking about stuff. I go out there when I run, apart from to annoy Toby, whoever else I'm running with, just to try and get my head straight and that kind of stuff. But yeah, podcasts are amazing. But yeah, Spotify, 40 runs playlist on Spotify. Check it out.
I'd be more inclined to run to music. I've got sort of like a list of about 5.5 hours worth of stuff that I've nicked from various sort of like sources and things. But I'll tell you what, I'd also say audiobooks, excellent for long runs. If you fancy an audiobook, that can be good to get lost in a sort of like a nice book for a couple of hours.
Yeah,
they're really good, and they'll slow you down. They'll keep you, you won't go mad. It's not like having sort of like appetite for destruction clanging in your ears for 45 minutes. You can calm down.
If you've got loads of time on your hands like Toby, you can actually get a playlist. If you think about what run you're doing, you could nail it in terms of your pace. If you know what you're pacing, right, then you're going to know where you're going to be in terms of your playlist.
If you go on Spotify as well, they've got loads of playlists that are at different beats per minute. So based on running. So if you know that you can do an easy one, you can pick one that's got a lot of sort of R&B and things like that are slower sort of stuff. And then if you want something, if you're going to be put through your paces on an interval session, then you can get something that's a bit quicker. Yeah, so I'd recommend having a look at them, definitely.
Or go out with Chris if you want a fast run, because you'll be trying to run so fast to get away from all this chat.
Yeah, but I'll keep up with you to talk. Toby wears, right, just to let you know, everyone, if you've not seen it in any of the videos, right? If you watch it from this week, he actually has his aftershocks on and he has music on. I talk so loud that he can't hear his music. That's how bad I am. Don't ever run with me.
Well, I hope we answered that anyway. We've got so much stuff to get through. We're rattling.
Yeah, that's good. That's what we like, people. That's what we're here.
Yeah.
What's next, Al?
We've got a follow-up question on the easy runs. Will has been thinking about his heart zones.
Yeah, put teeth in, mate.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's kind of been struggling to get his heart rate down. Will it come down when he gets fitter, or should he buy a heart rate monitor? That's the actual question.
Well, firstly, how's he monitoring his heart rate? Because if you're using a Garmin just plugged onto your wrist, I guarantee that's not accurate. You need some form of heart rate monitor firstly to make sure you are tracking it correctly. Then you need to set your zones correctly, and that would take some form of, I mean, I did a Cooper test. People argued about that wasn't the right way to do it, but there's always people who know more. But that's what I did to reset my zones, so I knew that I was training correctly to where I was at. But my zones are always adjusting because I'm always wearing my heart rate monitor, apart from Tuesday where I forgot it. But I'm wearing my heart rate monitor. My zones are always adjusting. So I would say, firstly, check your technology. And then once you've adjusted your technology, then start thinking about where you are in terms of your pace and relative effort to your zones, if that makes any sense. Hope that helps. Who's the question? Who was it from?
That was from Will. So we got one. This is right up your street, Chris.
Oh.
That was Will about the heart rate zones. But we've got a question from Harpreet. Wants to know up-tempo shoes for wide feet. They've tried Skechers Razor XS, but too tight and gave blisters. I know you're a big Skechers fan. So come on,
well,
you've got to respond to that one.
I've got the new ones. I was wearing them yesterday. What were they called? Max Road 5s. So what was it again? What was the question?
Up-tempo shoes for wide feet. The Skechers didn't work.
Tempo shoes for wide feet. Yeah, Skechers wouldn't work.
So I thought we were back on music again with the up-tempo.
I'll have a look. Tempo shoes. What about your what about a Pro 2 from Saucony? Firm? That's not a bad shout. A Saucony Pro 2 is not a bad shout. Maybe they're too expensive. What are they? $189. I'm just looking up at the shoes we've got in at the moment. Asics Meta Sky Speed. Not bad. They're wide enough in the toe box. If anything, the new Asics. Hold tight.
Hold on. He's going to get a pair. He's got some. Box fresh.
Nah. I was filming a piece on these earlier, but the toe box on these and the Asics is really wide. You see the flare? See the flare there? But this toe box is really wide. There's actually almost too much. If you could press that, they're almost a little bit too wide.
Blimey.
But they're expensive. That's the only problem. So I'll have a think. I'll come back to you on cheaper ones. There
we go. Al, what's next?
We've lost Al.
Nutrition. Let's talk about nutrition. How to fuel for those long runs. There was a couple of questions based around nutrition.
We need to tell you on nutrition, Al. We know we need to get next week Simon, the fitness of food guy, on.
Yeah, he'll be good. He knows all about that stuff. But what's your general advice for those longer runs? What are you going to be fueling on tomorrow morning?
Well, I've already started by the pasta I had tonight. And I will be using a concoction of Active Fruit. And I've still got some Huma, H-U-M-A gels in the cupboard, which I'm trying to work my way through to get rid of them because I got a bucket load of them when I was using them a couple of years ago. So I'm working my way through them. So I'll probably be on the Active Fruit electrolyte because of the heat. I'll load up with a bottle or two of that, and then I'll fuel it. If we're doing what we do, we ain't sorted it out yet. You're still arguing, aren't you? He reckons, what was it? 18?
18, yeah.
18. So 18, what's that? 2 gels, isn't it? So I'll probably just fuel up with 2 gels along the way.
Chris, do you ever go out fasted? Do you ever run without eating?
Yeah, I'll go fasted up until about 13 miles. Anything over 13 miles, I tend to then fuel up beforehand. But usually under 30 miles or under, yeah, I much prefer running fasted. I'd run fasted for further if I could, but obviously you've got to be conscious, you know, of where you're depleting your reserves and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you just got to be smart when you're out. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend it as much in the summer. Winter training is a little bit easier because when you're in the summer, you know, you sweating and everything else is working doubly hard. So I'd just be
and I mean, I'm sure it'll be a recurring theme through the weeks that it's all, you've got to find out what works for you. We're going to get this on all sorts of different subjects, aren't we? And it's just a lot of it. It's just sort of experimenting and trying to find out.
Yeah, whatever works for you. I mean, Rachel's just put in the chat, Haribo. I mean, people. I mean, my brother-in-law. I never forget. He ran a marathon fueled on jelly babies or jelly beans, I think it was. So whatever works, right?
Find what works for you.
Yeah.
That would be. I mean, in layman's terms, I think that's that would be the key with nutrition, wouldn't it? Just experiment as much as you can. Don't do anything new on your race day, and then
go for it from there. I love it. This is great.
You keeping up, Al?
Yeah, no, struggling.
You're not there, Al. Listen, you've got to remember how old he is. He can't keep up.
Don't type too fast. So I'm going to go back to a question from Sultan, and he was asking about stretching in terms of what's a good stretching regime, particularly if you're out doing high mileage.
Oh dear, I mean, this is the worst format to show it on, isn't it? Really? I mean, I tell you,
he wasn't asking for a live demo. Perhaps.
Oh, that's good. That's handy. He wouldn't be getting one. I mean, it's funny. I started when we started the clubs and stuff like that. I put into place effective. What are they? 8 stretches? Are they 8 probably in total? That are a sort of general overbody experience. But we effectively work most of the muscles that we stretch. Most of the muscles that we've used.
Lots of hamstrings and quads, isn't there? And
hamstring, quads, you know, all that sort of stuff. And
hugging
just,
trees.
But kind of low, not like high stress in terms of stretches, but we do those 8 stretches, and I tell the guys, hopefully, you know, you're going to do that after every high effort, right? But I mean, really, we should be doing yoga, we should be doing, you know, proper stretching and all this sort of stuff. Pilates, we should, especially if you're training half marathon training, you should really, really be stretching everything out properly. It's one of the worst things that I neglect. And this is perfect. Why you know this? What I want to achieve out of this, because I'm like everybody else, like you guys. You don't have time. You walk through the door. You got the kids. You know, you're doing this. I've got Mrs. FORDY shouting at me because I've probably not got the milk. I've got the dog who wants to, you know, play, and you know, you've got a million things to do. You've got to eat as well. Your last thing you want to be doing is stretching, and you just forget about it. And it's terrible habits, and it can make such a difference if you do it properly and regularly. I reckon it knocks plenty of time off of any run you do if you do it properly. But just go on YouTube and follow along to, you know, we did a yoga thing, like 30 minute or 60-minute yoga thing. It might not be for everyone, but even if you put it on for 25 minutes and do a bit of it, job done.
There's loads of good yoga stuff on YouTube.
Yeah,
the Adrian stuff's fantastic.
Like
you know,
you do need to do it.
We've got coming.
I think Alan's just looked. Oh, go on.
Seems to be a response in terms of program.
Yeah, I've done a few sessions. I love it. It's really good. It's but like Chris says, it's squeezing it all in.
Weekly yoga.
I'd have to.
Thumbs up from a fair few viewers.
Yeah, there's lots of love for yoga in there. That's good.
Yeah, he's just wrote Nike Run Club app has free yoga. Yeah, go good advert for Nike app. So get on that, people, and do your yoga.
Yeah, yoga yourselves up.
We got a yoga teacher. The lady who did the class, maybe we'll get her on and we can talk about yoga one week. I tell you, is that another person we'll get on. I don't know if she's watching or not, but we'll get the old osteo on and all that, because she's brilliant about talking about where to stretch and how to stretch. She goes, when I go in there moaning about all my injuries, she gives me all these amazing stuff to do. So Monica would be a great one to get on here actually and talk about it. I think there'll be a lot of questions on that one as well. So that's a good shout. Right, who's next? What's next, boys?
What we got, Al?
Right, well, Ian's just dropped in with a question about the future of running stores. So, with us all being able to buy cheap and online, is the future of the running store a thing of the past? Are they dead?
That is a very, very interesting point. Very interesting. Because one of the things that people ask me a lot, so I'm just checking something on my phone badly. One of the things I get asked about a lot is gait analysis and all that kind of stuff. And I think a good, decent local store is where that can be done. Obviously, ideally, you go to a physio and someone who's not getting paid to, or you know, try and sell shoes. But a good, decent local running store, and there's a couple around in Hertfordshire where I am. They do good gait analysis, and I think that's where they offer some value and a slight insight into trying stuff. But I do fear for the running shop. I'd love to open a running shop up in terms of, you know, selling stuff and more so for just people to hang out and talk about running. But is it economical? Is it viable? No. What you would make from selling a couple of pairs of trainers, it would never be viable. So I don't think it is. And I think, you know, you see the shops like Up and Running and that lot, you know, out and about, Runners Need and places like that. They're never busy. They never seem to be, because everyone goes in there, tries the shoes on, and then goes and buys them online for like 10 quid, 20 quid cheaper, which is a shame. But I do think I do think the local ones have a chance because of like and what's his name, Al in Chelmsford. I can't remember his name.
Run Active.
Yeah.
Dave
great
from Run Active.
Yeah. But he's entwined in the community. That's the sort of shop that would probably
it's symbolic of the whole, you know, shopping experience though, isn't it? You know, we're all going online about everything. That's, you know, it's not just the sort of running shop sector at all. It's everything, you know. Town centres are now places you go for a haircut and a cup of coffee. That's just the way things are at the moment.
It's interesting you talk about haircuts. I've noticed, I don't know if anybody else, I just let everyone into a secret. We was testing this. You may have seen it if you're in the Facebook group, but we've been testing this all week. And Toby earlier on had a very, very different looking Barnet to what he's got now. I suspect he's gone out. Not that I want to stitch him up, but he looks slightly more handsome than he did earlier. And
I don't know if that's possible.
And he's got blusher on, I think. Has he got blusher on?
I had the makeup artist
yeah.
actually, yeah.
Yeah, we did mention having to go to makeup before.
Next question.
Yeah, where are we now? What are we now?
I've definitely lost my thread now. So Kirsty's
you
only had one
job.
What?
Yeah, Kirsty's been asking about the London Marathon. What's the shoe for her? So, you know, what shoes you should be wearing for those long runs. You know, we've talked about up tempo, talked about speed, comfort over 26 miles. Where's the place you go?
Depends what your goal is. I think if you're looking just to finish, get the same medal as everybody else, have a good time and muck about, then get whatever works for you, whether it be, you know, Glide Ride or Glycerine 19, or I'm just looking at a Clifton 8. I was doing a video about the Clifton 8 today. You know, something comfortable that's, you know, that's going to work for you that you've trained in. But if you are then looking for a time, then maybe you need to, you know, go down that route of something a little bit more lively, a little bit more of a super shoe, let's call it. But again, a lot of it comes down to price. I think it's really important. No, you know, I'm so lucky in the world that I am with, you know, the shoes that we get sent in and loaned and tried out and all that sort of stuff. And I do buy my own shoes as well. But if you can only afford one pair of shoes, then, you know, you're driven by budget a lot of the time, aren't you? And there's so many good shoes out there, and they've all got a place, except for there's one shoe I'm going to do a video on it. It's going to come out probably in about 2 weeks. The worst shoe I've had this year, and that's not the Nike Invincible that got me injured, but there's another one that's the most pointless shoe I've actually bought. It's not one I actually got sent through from a manufacturer. But it's just useless. So yeah, I think it depends whether it depends whether what you're going for, I think, in terms of your goals. But whatever it is, make sure you try it out loads.
Yeah.
Don't get
So
thrown
Ian's
out of
come
the box
back with a comment. One of his issues with those local shops is their lack of choice. And I think that is a problem, isn't it? In terms of, you know, some of the big brands have quite tough terms and conditions in terms of putting off local suppliers. But while we're on shoes, again, very hot topic, because I know we've been discussing it in the Facebook group today. How many pairs of shoes do you have on rotation, Chris? I know your prop's not norm, not average, but
no, I'm not because obviously I get a lot coming in and stuff like that. I try and put that. I have at least one a week that goes in that starts off new. So for example, we'll be starting with. I mean, I've already done a running them already, but the Adios Pro But in general, I did a video about it, my rotation. But I've got about. I think I've got about 6 or 7 that I kind of flit around with, but because of what we do in terms of the shoe reviews and that, I flit in and out. But I do have my favourites, and that was what I did on the video. I did do my favourites, where I spoke about like the Mach 4s and the sort of sketches of this world, and obviously my beloved glide rides, which they're in the museum. Look, they're in the museum. Look at them. Look,
they're in the FORDY Trainer Hall of Fame, are they?
Oh yeah, they made it. They made it into the museum. And why people are asking these ones? Look, these ones that people. These are the ones that I ran London in one year, and they've got the girls' date of births on them. Because you could do that Nike.
Yeah.
What's it called? So I've got both of them on the other side. So they're
Nike
in the,
ID.
Hall of Fame. But that was a Pegasus, So that wasn't. That was back when I didn't even worry about what shoes I was in.
What about you, Al? How many pairs of shoes are you running in?
Yeah, I mean, he's having a go at me. He's just as bad. Look at him, look.
Now, it depends on your definition. I've got, I think, 6 pairs of white shoes on rotation, and then I go into my colourways. Obviously, those whites go from box fresh white down to a mouldy grey and various incarnations.
So it's like a Dulux chart of all the different types of white.
Yeah, colour chart.
Why do you
Apple white.
I don't see the obsession with white shoes. I mean,
I'd never buy a pair of white ones because I just get them all caked up.
Yeah, I did. Is it today's video with the Saucony or the one from the other day with the original white Sauconys that I had, the Endorphins? They're gross. They're disgusting.
They look lovely on the finish line photos. They just make you stand out. Avoid the puddles.
Is that a price worth paying for the finish line photo?
We're still in the feet area. We've had a question about socks. Where do you go for socks? What do you recommend?
Well, I have to say Runderwear, and I have to say Chimera.
Are you an ambassador?
I have to say those two straight away. But you know what? Whatever you can get cheap. I wouldn't recommend the Decathlon ones. I ran them on one. I did the video and I got blisters with them. I tell you what are good, which might not be that obvious, or maybe is obvious, is Gymshark. Gymshark do some runners socks, and I'm not being paid from Gymshark, funny enough, but the Gymshark ones are quite good.
Yeah, and a couple of votes for more miles as well. I've had a few pairs of those.
And Runderwear and Chimera.
This is great that we're getting all the feedback from people, sort of like making suggestions of their own things when it comes to like trainers, and that's what it's all about. We like to hear all that. We love to hear about.
Know, it's just an opinion. It doesn't. Yeah. Because I say something, it don't mean nothing.
Okay,
we've got about 10 more minutes, I reckon. Now,
Rohit's
flown by.
It has.
It's gone fast, isn't it? So Rohit's picked up on our kind of theme around shoe rotation, and he's asking. Can too much variation cause problems in terms of injuries?
Absolutely. I couldn't. Yeah. I mean, Monica from the osteo, she just every time I get a new shoe in, she like just does more money. She's like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to be getting him in again soon. Because one of the issues that I had, the Invincible caused, was the pronation. So the two muscles, that control your pronation. I basically irritated the hell out of them by running in the Invincible. And that is what ultimately training through that then caused me the problems. Because then obviously I did the Dorney Marathon. that is what has caused the issues on my left leg. So yes, it is the worst thing, I believe, to be training through all these different shoes. And it's amazing. I mean, just putting those those Max Road 5s on yesterday, you can just feel that I was settled in them. I mean, I was only doing the kids clubs in them, wasn't I? But you can just feel from the stability of the platform that that's a shoe that suits me, because I put the what's it called, the Pros on the other day, the Adios Pro things, and I was like that in them. So you just know, and I'm doing myself harm, but that's where I'll I take a shoe for at least a week, and first impressions videos we always do. Unless it's something like mental, I'll take a shoe out and run 20 miles in it. But usually I try and get at least 3 runs in them, at least 3 runs on a shoe, before I do a first impressions. But some of them I may limit what I'm doing in them and then tell you about it, because literally I'm all over the place. So yeah, it is bad unless you're really lucky and you're just like built like out of aluminium or something, or titanium, and your legs can take it, but mine can't. So that's why I tend to only go for stuff as well that I know will pretty much suit me as well.
Cool. And Al, do you reckon we could go through Robert's question about his ultra and then Claire's question, and then we might have to wrap things up because we're charging around?
Yeah, I think that should. Yeah, we can. So Robert's epic. He's signed up for the Equinox 24 in September. He's going to try and nail 100 miles. If you can get your head around that in 24 hours.
We need an ultra marathon.
What's their recommendations? I know.
Good night's sleep.
But what's your recommendation for that 3 a.m. hit? What you gonna be chomping down on at 3 a.m.? Is it real food? Is it energy? Where would you be going?
I've got to be honest. The only experience I've got, right? I've never done an ultra. I don't think I'd love to do it. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I'm built for it. But I think if we train, but I think the only thing I could think of when I did Ragnar Relay and I was running at 3 o'clock in the morning, the only thing that I was craving then was a bottle of Coke. It was the only thing that I couldn't. I didn't fancy anything to eat. All right, we'd loaded up with Nando's, but I'm not running, am I? So I can't say. It's so hard.
We'll definitely have an ultra special. Well, 1 week we'll have an ultra special. We'll do all the ultra inquiries, and we'll publicise that plenty of time, so people have got the opportunity to get their ultra questions in. Yeah. So if we take Claire there now, and then we'll have to wind things up, I reckon.
So yeah, we'll move on to Claire. So Claire signed up for the Brighton Marathon, so I'll see you there. She's into week 7 of her 18-week plan, so it sounds like it's going quite well. But she's got a half coming up shortly, this weekend, in fact. So what should she be doing? Should she be going out steady, or is this the time to see how it's all been going, and should she be chasing a PB?
Is that for me?
Yeah, go on.
For you, from Claire.
Yeah, I personally, if I was in week 7 of marathon training, I would run it as though it was the start of my marathon. And I would go at goal pace, and I'd be looking to absolutely nail my pacing splits or my strategy depending on what I was running. So let's say I'm looking for 3:45. If Toby's should be looking for less than that, even though he said he's doing 3:45. But I'm looking for 3:45. So whatever my splits are, Toby will know because I keep forgetting. But I will go out and I will race and I will do bang, 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 bang. And I will use it purely as a practice into 7 weeks. I would use a 10K to see where I'm at personally, because there's less sort of impact. It's a higher effort and that's fine. And that's not going to impact me too much. But I would use the half marathon prep as a sort of, because you can learn a lot, in terms of fuel it correctly as though you was in your marathon, and start off and make sure you run the first 3 miles as though you'd run the first, part of your marathon and all that kind of stuff. It's invaluable, really is.
Well, I hope that helps.
That's all.
Sounds like good advice.
Thanks ever so much for everybody who's come. It's been brilliant. It's really taken off.
Hey, can I just add one thing? If that's all right.
Yeah, go on.
I just want to say, firstly, thanks everybody for tuning in. We're back at 7. I know this is checking on your toes a bit, but so the way this is going to work, we're going to do this. We're going to try and do this every week. We're going to try and mix it up with different people. We want different guests in So we're going to have people in from, hopefully from the satellite groups. We want people in from the Facebook community. If you're watching this on YouTube and you want to be on the channel and you want to talk about something, DM me via Instagram. But we want to get people on. We're also, I say, looking for everyday runners. Yeah. So not just, you know, like the other people out there that are doing stuff. Yeah. You know, I'll try and get a few different people on, but I really want sort of everyday runners coming on, talking about their experiences, their races. If you've done an event that you really enjoy, come and tell me about it. Come and tell everybody. So yeah, I just want to get everybody involved, and I just want to say thanks ever so much to everybody. We had a lot of people watching tonight, and I really appreciate it. So yeah, I'll leave the rest to you, Ian.
Yeah, it's been really good. Hopefully you'll be able to join us again next week. We'll listen again. Hopefully it will be on the podcast. You can take it all in again, get all those golden nuggets and think, oh, I missed that bit. Well, you can listen to it hopefully on a podcast during the week. Send us messages on Facebook. Tell your friends. Ask if you've got observations, questions, DM us, write on the Facebook group and tell us what you want to do. Next week, we'll all be preparing for the Wear 10K. So we're all looking forward to that. So we will we'll talk about that. Perhaps we'll talk about you know, post-COVID races and the way forward and all that sort of thing. But you know, it's your show. Please ask us your questions whenever you can. We'd love to see you next week. So we'll be here on the same formats, 7 o'clock on Friday. Cheers, Al. Thanks, Toby.
Thanks, boys.
Cheers,
Chris.
everyone.
Thank you for listening, and we shall see you all hopefully next week. Have a great weekend running.